Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grennis, and with me as always, PGA Tour champion, Andrew Novak.
What's up, everyone? Happy to be back. Closing in on the final stretch of the season and happy to talk some football.
Please get on YouTube, like and subscribe at Screenplay_podcast. We are on socials at Screenplay_podcast. You can also check out our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. On there, you can find our picks of the week, guest episodes, merch, and more. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you stream podcasts. All right, you're playing a golf tournament this week, aren't you?
That's right. Got the home event, RSM Classic at Sea Island. So, yeah, pretty excited to be playing golf again.
How does your prep for this tournament differentiate from any other week on tour, being that this is your home golf course and you've probably have played so many rounds at it?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't have to do as much work on the golf course, but my preparation leading up to this tournament's been a little different because I have a 2-week-old. So, yeah, it's definitely been interesting, but I'm excited to just play again.
Yeah.
Been missing it.
Can a two week old child get out to a golf tournament, or is that too early?
Absolutely, yeah. You can throw them in the stroller and take them out there.
All right,
Yeah,
that'll.
it's good weather, so I'm not concerned about that really. I think Maddie will probably bring. I think Maddie will probably bring her out there.
Do you have your tee time yet for this week?
Yeah, it's all one wave. I'm like 10 o'clock on Thursday and like 8:45 on Friday.
And who are you playing with?
Playing with Brian Harmon and Michael Brennan.
Ooh, Brian Harmon is my favorite lefty on tour, and Michael Brennan. That's the new kid out there. Just won recently, didn't he?
That's right. Yep.
It's a pretty good pairing there for the RSM.
Feature group. I think. Actually, I have no idea.
I love it. All right. We are saying this weekly now. Patriots get the dub. Panthers get the dub. I mean, it's just every week we're stacking some
Good
wins.
football teams, man. Honestly, like basically the same level of talent between both those teams and quarterback play. Although Bryce Young threw for a 400-yard game before Drake May threw for a 300-yard game. So who's really the better quarterback?
If Bryce Young just plays as the Falcons every week, he'll be good.
Oh my gosh, that's our child. We are daddy, and that is our son.
All right, we got some injuries, we got some suspensions, we got some fantasy football talk, we got some predictions. Let's get into it. Sunday night football: Eagles defeat the Lions 16-9. These teams with high-powered weapons in the NFC, like the Lions, the 49ers, the Rams, they operate their offense through the run. If you can bottle up the run, they struggle. The Eagles and their interior D line, they're really good at bottling up the run. They held the Lions to 74 total rush yards in this game. No touchdowns. What did you see out of this game? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There was a touchdown. There was a touchdown. JMO scored a touchdown, but still held the
yeah,
Lions to 9 points.
yeah,
What did you see out of this game?
yeah. I mean, the Eagles' defense is playing fantastic football right now. Their offense is still a mess. It's dysfunctional, but it doesn't matter. Uh, the big thing in this game, the Lions went 3 for 18 on money downs.
Is that
Three
third,
for
fourth
13
down?
on, yeah, three for 13 on third, 0 for 5 on fourth down. Basically, the Eagles on all of the important plays were making the plays. They were getting off the field, getting the ball back to their offense. The offense wasn't really doing a lot with it, but they did enough. And it's really ugly right now. Philadelphia almost feels it feels wrong to do this, but almost feels like the Broncos to me, where it just looks so bad, but it is working. And both teams are 8-2, I believe. Both have some big wins over some of their top competition in the conference, and I feel maybe a little bit more confidence in the Eagles going forward than the Broncos, but I definitely see the similarities of both teams right now.
It's funny you said that. Literally about an hour ago, like before we were recording, I was thinking about that. I was like, the Broncos and the Eagles feel very similar to where every game's going to be a one-score game. They're going to run the ball as well as they can. They're going to play defense, and you're
Yeah,
going to look up and you're going to be like, it was ugly and they won. And I
yeah,
had that thought. I was like, it'd be crazy if the Broncos and the Eagles got in the Super Bowl and it was just a terribly boring Super Bowl game, like 16-13, just defense. And I was like, you know what? It's ugly football. It's not great teams to watch, but like I can kind of see that happening.
yeah. I mean, they have very different styles of offense, and neither is working right now. But the defenses are just that good. We've seen ugly Super Bowls before. You're a Patriots fan, you know how that goes. But I right now, like, nobody's beating them. So
Let's talk about Lane Johnson. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. On the offensive side, the Eagles are already struggling. Do you think this is going to be a big deal? I mean, 4 to 6 weeks, so he should be back for the playoffs.
yeah,
But at least for this stretch, he's going to be out.
given the state of their division, no, not a concern. Honestly, rest up, get healthy, for potentially, having home field advantage first round bye. Like, yes, that could be an issue. Obviously, he's a very, very good player for them, but no, I mean, the Cowboys are not chasing down the Eagles at this point. So I feel pretty safe about the Eagles and not too worried there.
We kind of saw like remember how Tucker Kraft went out for the Green Bay Packers and their offense kind of stalled. So Laporta, he went to the IR. He didn't play this week, and we kind of saw a similar thing, how it just stalled a little bit for the offense. So Laporta should come back eventually, but it's going to be interesting to see how big of a piece to that offense Laporta is, and if they can get it going without him. With this loss, the Lions fall to 6-4, actually outside the playoff race at this moment.
Yeah, I think they definitely missed Laporta, but like, really, the biggest issue I think they had in this game, I have not seen this Lions offensive line bullied this bad in years. I can't remember the last time. I mean, it was probably pre Dan Campbell turning him around. So yes, they're definitely missing him, but they definitely have other issues on top of that.
Next up, the Eagles are playing at the Cowboys, and the Giants are going up to Detroit to play the Lions. Bears, they defeat the Vikings 19-17. I had the Vikings -3 on this. We bet these games when we record early in the week. As the week went on, I started to feel really bad about this bet. I was on the wrong side of this bet. As it became closer to the game, I was just like, this is not the side that I want to be on. I don't know what I was doing betting on J.J. McCarthy. His hand is dinged up. I thought the Brian Flores defense would win this game for the Vikings, and I mean, they kind of did. To be honest, they kind of bottled up Chicago pretty well. But J.J. McCarthy, he sucks.
Yeah, he's not good. It's been really bad. Absolutely. Would not be surprised if the Vikings move on from that sooner rather than later.
This was the type of game that an average quarterback in the NFL has got to win. You're at home. You have Brian Flores as your defensive coordinator. Their defense played a very good game, I will say. You got to win these games. This game completely comes down onto J.J. McCarthy. When we look at the stats from this game, Caleb and J.J., they both had 16 for 32. They both threw the ball 32 times, completed, what was that, 50%? J.J.
Yep.
goes for 150, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Caleb goes for 193, no touchdowns but no picks. So really, Caleb just didn't make any mistakes, and J.J. McCarthy made the mistakes in this game, and yeah, no, he sucks. I'm not putting money on Minnesota Vikings or J.J. McCarthy the rest of the season. I just can't do it. When we look at the time possession in this game, the Vikings, they held the ball for 37 minutes to the Vikings 23. The Vikings really just beat themselves with the penalties. J.J. McCarthy really just beat them.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings, their defense is solid. They were able to run the ball. They averaged over 5 yards a carry in this game. And you have Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. There is no excuse as a quarterback in this situation with the team around you to be putting up performances like that. That can't happen. The Vikings, in my opinion, they are a quarterback away. They are quite literally a quarterback away from a very good football team right now, and you're seeing that frustration. Justin Jefferson's not the kind of receiver. I mean, there are definitely some diva receivers. He's not the kind of receiver to be showing frustration like this. That's just not really him. He doesn't look himself out there, and I think the frustration in the building is like kind of starting to show.
Yeah, Sam Darnold would be the perfect quarterback in Minnesota right now. What did you think about this? Has happened a couple times this year now at the end of the game. So the game was 16-16. The Vikings kicked the ball off to the Bears, and they give them the chance to return it, to come back and get in field goal range. I don't get the play there. You gotta kick it out of the end zone. You gotta I don't know, not give them a chance to return it there. I don't like the play call. I think it's just a mishap on the coaching there at the end of the game. That's like the second or third time that I've really seen it happen this year.
They scored with 50 seconds left, and Yeah, I mean the Bears after a long return, they had the ball in the Vikings territory. I mean you kick it deep. It's at the 35.
Worst
Like
case scenario, it's at the 35, and you still make them push it another 30 or 40 yards before they get a field goal,
yeah,
as opposed to yeah.
it's definitely like an aspect that the NFL is kind of leaning into to keep these games close. I mean it's or to keep. I mean before you kick back in the day, the ball would come out to the 20. I mean, you had to drive the ball 40, 50, even the kickers back then weren't kicking that far. So you had to drive the ball 50 yards almost. I mean, if a kicker could hit from 50 back, 20 years ago, that was good. Um, so if you got the ball at the 20, you had to drive all the way basically to the 30 on the other side. You had to drive 50 yards. Now, if you kick it through the end zone, ball comes out at the 35, you move it 20, 25 yards, you're in Aubrey range at that point, but the kickers can hit from that far these days. So yeah, it's definitely changed kind of the mindset there. Like it is hard to just let a team take it out to the 35. I understand why they're kicking deep in that situation, but it's kind of, I mean, with how the rules are now, it is definitely tough for those teams trying to defend those kind of last minute drives because teams don't really have to move the ball very far anymore.
All right, next up, the Steelers are going to the Bears, and the Vikings are going to the Packers. Let's get to the Bills game. The Bills defeat the Bucs 44-32. This was the top game of the early window on Sunday. Bills defeat the Bucs, but I might as well just say Josh Allen defeat the Bucs. The Bills had some really, really bad turnovers. I don't think the game was like as close as it really needed to be. There was a muffed punt return. Josh Allen had just a terrible turnover, just straight chest past it to the other team on their own 10-yard line. Josh Allen put the cape on and won this game, but he almost like burned the city down and then put the cape on to win the game. Like it feels like they forced themselves into Josh Allen playing a great game. Am I wrong there?
I mean, a little bit. Look, like sometimes your best player has to just go win you a game. This Buccaneers team is definitely like down a few guys, but this was a big game for the Bills. We've talked about it before how the Patriots' schedule is pretty light. The Bills can't really afford to be like giving away games and stuff. And yeah, this was a big win for them. Josh Allen, like he does kind of put the ball in harm's way at times, but at the end of the day, he's Superman and he's going to go get it done. So I'm not as concerned about it. I mean, the chest pass was pretty bad, but
It was bad.
he's trying to make a play. I get it.
Yeah, Bucks were up 32-31 in the fourth quarter, ended up losing this game by 12. Tyrell Shavers, you ever heard of this guy?
Yeah, I've seen the name. Okay, San Diego. Okay, no, San Diego State. No, definitely not who I was thinking of.
4 for 5, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. I guess with Coleman out, he really came in, had a good game. Yeah, I had to look him up. I was like, who is this guy?
Look, you bench Keon and the offense gets better. I mean, this is something we've been talking about. Like, Keon's not it, man, and it's time to move on. And they gave a bunch of guys a chance, and I know they had some different names in there. Mecole didn't really do anything as a receiver, but the return game did some big things. Like other guys getting a chance, and they were making the most of it.
How about Sean Tucker? 19 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches, 34 yards, add another touchdown to that. 3 touchdowns total. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers legitimately just have 3 good running backs. They have Tucker, they have Rachaad White. Bucky Irving's been hurt all year, but now when Bucky comes back, they just have 3 good running backs. I'm interested to see what they do in the offseason with those 3 guys, where they keep them or they try to move one out like who did that earlier this year? The Jaguars. The Jaguars had 3 decent running backs and shifted one out as the season started. So I'm going to keep an eye on that running back room in the offseason. Just kind of interesting situation there.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully Bucky's back this week because the guy I'm playing has Sean Tucker, and I'm not looking forward to having to play against that dude. Was looking really good out there against the
I
Bills.
feel like the last 6 weeks it's just been all over like social media. Like Bucky's coming back this week. It's like the same thing this week, but we'll probably be saying it next week. Bucky's coming back next week. Bucks are going to LA to play the Rams, and the Bills are playing the Texans. Speaking of the Rams defeat the Seahawks 21-19. Sam Darnold, 29 of 44, 279 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Yet, in the final seconds of this game, Seattle still had a chance to win. Missed field goal from 61 yards. What did you see out of this game for these two NFC West teams?
Yeah, this is two teams that have had great offenses this year. put up points on a bunch of people, but also have good defenses, and the defense kind of won out in this game. Um, Darnold would not stop throwing picks, but Seattle's defense still fought enough to keep him in the game and give him a chance. I think there's like a decent chance these are probably the best two teams in the NFL right now, at least with how they're playing. Um, and yeah, I was pretty impressed by this game. I thought it was, a good. I mean, it's a divisional battle, but it was definitely a good fight.
I think it's a really good sign when your quarterback can throw 4 interceptions and you still have a chance to win the game. It's not a blowout. That's a really good sign out of your defense, out of the surrounding pieces, out of your team as a whole. This was another game where the time of possession was just wild. Seattle had 38 minutes. Rams had 22 minutes. That's 16 more minutes time of possession. So the Rams, when they did get the ball on offense, they really couldn't do much with it. And I guess I want to say it's hard to do much with it when it's hard to get in a rhythm when you're not on the field. So Stafford's on the field for 22 total minutes out of however long this game is, 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two really good teams going at it here. And if they win at it again, I think it's a coin flip as to who's going to win.
Yeah, I think this is. I would not be surprised at all if we see a rematch of this one in the playoffs. I mean, I think they still play again. I think later in the year. It's not last week of the season. It's 2 weeks before, but still, they play again later this year, and I would not be surprised if they end up meeting up a third time, maybe in the playoffs. I did want to note Devontae Adams having probably one of the funniest stat lines I've seen in a while. 8 targets, 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. Just not what he was looking for, but not every day you see one of those.
It's funny. As a receiver, I really want to ask specifically him, but as a receiver, like if you go 1 for 8, 1 yard, 1 touchdown, you win the game. Are you happy with that stat line? He'll probably say yes, right?
I think Devontae's been in the game long enough. He's like happy to take a win. He's been with some
I guess
losing teams a bit
ask
lately.
AJ Brown that same question, he would be pretty pissed
No.
about that
Yeah.
stat line with a win.
I think Devontae Adams with the Raiders and losing a bunch the last year probably just he's happy with winning football games at this point.
All right, next up, Seahawks are going to the Titans and the Bucs are going to the Rams. Broncos, they defeat the Chiefs 22-19. This game I feel like this game had the biggest result in like variant as to like what could happen for each team with a win and a loss. It answered a lot of questions. Before the game, we were like, are the Broncos actually good? Will the Chiefs just stroll to the playoffs again? But now it's turned into what kind of run can the Broncos make into the playoffs? And are the Chiefs even going to make the playoffs? With this win, the Broncos jump to a 96% chance of making the playoffs. And with this loss, the Chiefs fall to a 51% chance at the playoffs. What did you see out of this game?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Broncos looked a little bit better in this game than they have in previous weeks against some bad football teams. They just keep finding ways to win. The Broncos are honestly kind of doing what the Chiefs did last year, and they just keep winning all these close games, and it's ugly. And the defense is doing it. Special teams is doing it. They're winning it in ugly ways, but at the end of the day, it's working. The Chiefs won a ton of one-possession games last year. They were on very strongly on the good luck side of that, and this year they have been on the bad luck side of variance, and they keep losing all of these close games. I still think the Chiefs are a good football team. This is obviously like starting to get into a little bit of danger territory for them. I still have faith in them, but they do need to kind of clean up, some of these games that are, coming down the wire. You can't just keep losing and get away with it.
I thought this was one of the most boring football games of the week for two really good football teams. They each had 10 drives. There were 128 throws, 68% completion on both sides. They only had 60 rush yards each. This game just lasted forever. They were just throwing the ball back and forth, not really completing passes, not running it well, punting it. I mean, this Broncos team, like we just talked about, it's very similar to the Eagles, how like they're going to play defense. They're going to probably have a one-score game every single game, and they're just going to be on the right side of it. With the Chiefs, their run game is really an issue for me. You got Kareem Hunt, who had 13 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, Isaiah Pacheco's out. Brashard Smith didn't have a carry. He had 2 catches. I don't think that they can just pull off 4 or 5 wins in a row without a solid one run game. I think they have a bunch of weapons they can throw to them. They can win games. They can put up points. But as it gets colder, as you play good teams, you got to be able to possess the ball. You got to be able to run it. And the Chiefs' run game, it's just not there.
Yeah, I mean, early season, like it's kind of been a thing all year. Mahomes only had one carry in this game, but I mean, he has been pulling a lot of the load in their run game. It's been a lot of scramble drills, stuff like that. I mean, Kansas City's not had a great run game this year. I think getting Rashee Rice back is essentially an extension of the run. I'm honestly surprised we're not seeing a little bit more like we're not seeing like any intermediate game with Rashee Rice. He truly is essentially a running back for them. He doesn't really get. I mean, he's had a couple carries, but he's essentially like swing passes and screens, and that's it. So I guess you could count that as like an extension of their run game, but um, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot going as far as the handoff game. Hunt actually wasn't that bad in this game, running the ball, but still, it's really not much of an aspect of their offense.
So the Chiefs are 5-5. When I look at their losses, they've lost to some really good teams. The Chargers when they were healthy, the Eagles, the Jaguars at home. That was one of the Jaguars' biggest wins in a while. But the Bills and the Broncos, they're 5-5. They have a big game this week at the Colts. Even if they lose this game with the Colts this week, I'm looking at their schedule coming up. They have some very winnable games. I do think they're going to start stacking some wins here towards the end of the season. After this Colts game, they have Cowboys, Texans, a beat-up Chargers team, Titans, Broncos. By that point in the season, we'll see how strong the Broncos are playing, and the Raiders to finish the season. So even if they lose this week, go 5-6, I think there's no reason to think that they can't put 4 or 5 wins together here at the end of the season and get to 10 wins and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. That's just a dangerous game to play. I do agree. I think the schedule is like somewhat favorable, but you've got to play the Broncos again still. Like I don't know. I think this game this week against the Colts is going to be very very big for them.
Yep, so Colts at the Chiefs and the Broncos are on bye. All right, let's get to a game this week. We're going to play a little AFC, NFC playoff game. It's called Are They a Lock? I'm going to tell you the team. You're going to tell me if they're a lock for the playoffs. Not mathematically, but whether you think that they are a lock for the playoffs or not. I'm going to start with some AFC teams here. The Buffalo Bills, are they a lock for the playoffs?
I do believe they're a lock. I think in the AFC the path is pretty clear for them.
The Chargers.
No, no, they're headed the wrong way. Too many injuries. The offensive line, it's not really Herbert's fault. The offensive line is such a disaster. It's completely crippled anything that they can do on offense, and I don't like the way that one's headed.
The Jacksonville Jaguars at 6-4, are they a lock for the playoffs?
I'm also going to say no. I think there's a decent chance that either the Chargers or the Jaguars take that last spot, but I think Kansas City is on the way. I think Buffalo and New England are pretty much like both safe there. Baltimore, you got to be careful of them because I think they're trending that way. So, assuming Baltimore does jump the Steelers, where do the Steelers end up at? So, I would not say I'm comfortable putting Chargers or Jaguars as safe.
Let's move over to the NFC. The Detroit Lions at 6-4, are they a playoff lock?
I'm going to say no. I trust the team there, but the NFC is a little bit tougher. They're in a tougher division. The Bears have done better than I expected. They've got some tough games, some division games still up. Like I do see, I do see a path where they could get bumped.
The Chicago Bears at 7-3, are they a playoff lock?
Even at 7-3, I'm going to say no, and it's honestly for the same reason. In that division, they've got a lot of tough games left divisionally. That if they just start losing some of those games, the NFC is still strong. I could still see them finishing third in their division, and the NFC West with how strong it is over there. Yeah, I could still see them getting bumped.
Last one here. This team is on a 2-game slide. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers are frauds. So, yeah, I do think Tampa Bay is a lock. They're winning that division. This is probably as close as we see this divisional battle get. I don't even think the Panthers finish with an above 500 record. So, yes, I do think Tampa Bay is locked in for the South.
So that AFC side, you think the Bills are locked in? NFC side, you think the Bucs are locked in? The other teams we read there still up in the air. All right, let's get to another
Correct.
talking point. Burrow started practicing a couple weeks ago, probably not 2 weeks ago, probably about a week and a half ago. Will Burrow start another game this year? Currently, the Bengals are 3-7. What are your thoughts?
He should not. Look, they got their guys. They got their guys signed on. There's no rush to bring them back. They play. They still got to play the Patriots. They've got at the Ravens. They got at the Bills. Like this miracle run is not happening. Um, it's just not happening. There's no point in forcing him out there, like risking any sort of re-injury or whatever. Like it's not happening this year. Just let him sit. Let Flacco go out there, do what he can, and take your nice little draft pick and hopefully help the defense for next year.
Yeah, so Bengals currently sit at 3-7. Their current chance of the playoffs are less than 1%. Their next two games, they have the Patriots this week, and then 4 days later they play the Ravens. That's gonna be one of my favorite bets. Maybe in 2 weeks they play the Ravens. 4 days after playing the Patriots. Um, yeah, so they're gonna lose both of these games most likely. You're gonna drop to 3-9 out of the playoff race. What you're gonna bring Burrow back in and start him against the Bills at your 3-9? That's not gonna happen. Yeah, so they got Ravens twice, Patriots, Bills. It's not happening. I traded Joe Burrow away in one of my leagues this week before the trade deadline, just to get some value out of him. People started laughing like, "Oh, what was that trade for?" It's like I don't think he's playing again, so why would I keep him on my roster? Yeah, I give it like a 0% chance that 1% chance Joe Burrow plays. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement. I really I think the best thing that could happen for the Bengals is a bunch of losses to where they have a pretty high pick and then probably sell that pick on for something. I think you could take a top defensive player with that pick, but I think selling that pick maybe for a player, a stud defensive player from another team, I think would be really beneficial for them.
All right, let's keep it with the Bengals here. Jamar Chase, suspended 1 game for spitting. I believe it was on Jalen Ramsey. He will lose a game check and he is fined. That totals out to $507,000. That is a large fine. So, without naming any names, what's the worst fine you've seen on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of specifics on that, but I do know that slow play fines can add up. There are a few slow play fines, like where the category essentially, if you keep violating it, it essentially just like sort of doubles and kind of keeps doubling. And I have heard of like guys by the end of the year being in like the six-figure range for slow play. I've heard some rumors from that. So
Interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to see who those players are. That's creeping up into the six figure. That's a big fine on the PGA Tour. 6 figures.
I will say the specific name I heard is no longer a PGA Tour player. He
Got it.
is getting some of that oil money. So
All right, let's move over to the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders sees the field this week versus the Ravens. His stat line: he goes 4 for 16, 47 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He had 2 sacks, quarterback rating of 13.5. If you spike the ball on every play, if you just hike it, spike the ball on the ground every single play, you have a quarterback rating of 39.6. So that just puts into comparison, his quarterback rating this game was a 13.5. So if he spiked the ball on every play, it would have been better than doing what he did. What did you see out of Shedeur versus the Ravens?
yeah, he looked really bad. It's kind of expected. He was thrown in middle of the game. Um, I think we saw aspects of some of the reasons that people said he was, you know, uh, some of the main issues that people had when through his draft process, holding the ball too long, and we saw that. I mean, he took 2 bad sacks in this. He had a really horrible pick that I don't know if it was a miscommunication or just a timing issue, but that wasn't even remotely close to being
No,
completed.
it was bad.
Uh, he had a couple other ones that could have been picked. I mean, it was not a good. Uh, I don't know if you can even call it a debut. He came in mid game. It'll be interesting to see if Gabriel's out this week. If he can get full week of practice and see what he looks like. I think at some point in time the Browns probably need to do that this year. But yeah, this showing did not instill a bunch of confidence in Shedeur.
If you were at a PGA Tour event and you were not in the field, let's say like you're an alternate into the
Yeah,
field. It happens all the time. Players get hurt, they back out, alternate gets in. That's kind of the situation that I saw Shedeur in here. Like, listen, you're an alternate, let's call it. You get into a tour event, you come out and you shoot an 89. Like, listen, I know you didn't probably get as much practice as some of the other guys did. I didn't need you to come out here and shoot 66 in the first round. Like, I didn't need you to kill it. But
yeah,
come on, you can't shoot 89. You can't do it.
yeah.
Like, it looked like you didn't expect to play the round of golf. Like you didn't see you had no idea what you were doing. And that's kind of what it looked like Shedeur. I feel like he didn't even
Yeah.
expect to get in the game. He looked unprepared. Again,
Mhm.
like I don't need you to go out there and win the football game, but I need you to look like you've, played before. That looked like they just took like I don't know, like a poor Division I college football player and threw him in there. And that's kind of what maybe he is.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's a horrible comparison. Like getting to a tournament and just having to play the course blind. Like,
Like, I
I
don't
mean, you're
need
just
you to
kind of
shoot
getting thrown out
66,
there. But
but, shoot 72, 73, keep yourself
yeah,
in there and give yourself a chance for tomorrow.
he did not look competitive on the field. It just didn't look. It did not look like a quarterback that can play the game at an NFL level. Maybe that can change, but I mean, one of the biggest things that people said for Shedeur, he had like a 75% completion percentage or whatever in college. He was good at just getting the balls to his players. Do it 4 of 16 in this game. I mean, there was not what he was doing. He was holding the ball too long. He was not distributing the ball very well. And yeah, I mean, that's just not a good first showing for him.
I'm gonna give him a small pass this week. Got to be better than that. If he plays this week, we'll give him a full judgment next week. He's playing at
Yeah,
the Raiders, pretty bad defense.
yeah.
If I threw up an
I'm
over
not ready to
under,
write him off by any
no,
like I think he absolutely deserves like a full true game. I'm just saying it didn't look good in this specific game, and definitely would hope to see some improvement going forward.
So next week he's playing the Raiders. Pretty bad defense. We just saw Dak and the Cowboys absolutely torch them. If I put the over under for Shedeur at 185 yards versus the Raiders, you taking the over or the under?
Probably under because my assumption would be the game plan would be a significant amount of handing the ball off. He wasn't really able to do this in this game because they were already behind and game script called for them throwing it a bunch. But yeah, I would probably go under that.
Yeah, I haven't seen his over under prop number. I looked it up. It's not out yet, but 185. It's not high. I'd probably take the under as well. All right, let's get into our power rankings. At number 10, I got the Chiefs, 5-5. They did not fall out of the top 10. Listen, their losses this year, it's the Chargers when they were healthy, the Eagles, the Jaguars, the Bills, the Broncos. They're losing to really good football teams. They're not out of it. They're just not elite. At number 9, another 5-5 football team. I got the Ravens. They're starting to stack some wins here. The defense is improving. The AFC North is likely theirs. They won this week 23-16 at Cleveland. At number 8, I got the Seahawks, 7-3. Took an L this week, 21-19 at the Rams. They've got the most giveaways in the NFL, but they also have the fewest sacks on the offense. Interesting couple of stats there. It's a good sign if you can have 4 interceptions and still have a chance to win, so Seahawks staying in the top 10. At number 7, I got the 49ers, 7-4. 41-22 win at Arizona. So they're 7-4, and they've kind of dealt with their injuries. They're getting their pieces back now. That's a good sign. Over on the defensive side of the sideline, Robert Saleh looks so happy. Looks so much happier coaching in San Francisco than he does for the Jets. Just a note there. At number 6, we got the Bills, 7-3. They have the most touchdowns in the NFL. They won 44-32 versus Tampa Bay. Their defense is struggling. They're letting up a ton of points, but Josh Allen Superman, and they're very Josh Allen reliant. At number 5, we got the Colts, 8-2, coming off a bye. They got the number 1 scoring offense. Big game this week at Arrowhead. Number 4, we got the Broncos, 9-2. Defense, great. Offense, I don't really know what to make of it. They're winning a bunch of one-score games. They won 22-19 versus Kansas City this week. Every game's a one-score game, but they keep winning them. They're 9-2. They're pretty much locked in for the playoffs. At 3, we got the Patriots, 8-2. Just beat the Jets on Thursday Night Football. undefeated on the road. May is leading the MVP. Milton Williams did just go on IR, so we'll keep a look at that over the next 4 or 5 weeks. At number 2, I got the Rams, 8-2. Fewest penalties in the NFL. They are just the cleanest team out there, possibly the best coached. Won 21-19 versus Seattle this week. Big game this week, playing the Bucs, Sunday Night Football. Number 1, Eagles hold the number 1 spot, 8-2. Lane Johnson to the IR. Got to keep an eye on that. They got the best defensive line. I don't think it's close. The Jalen Phillips edition, I love it. Really helping out that D as well. And they held the Lions to 9 points this week. So Eagles at number 1. At number 11, got the Lions. Number 12, got the Bucs. I can see both those teams getting back into this top 10, but tough couple weeks here for those teams in the NFC. Let's get over to fantasy football. Week 12 starts. Who's a good start this week?
All right, starting off, it's ugly, but I'm going to go Darnell Mooney. I think he is startable this week. Look, you're going to have no Drake London. You got no Michael Penix.
I got him on here too.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins just likes throwing it to Darnell Mooney. It was a thing last year, and he's going to have to throw it to somebody. Somebody's going to have to catch the ball. Maybe it's Kyle Pitts. But still, I think Mooney's startable in this game. It's not like, don't watch the game. Just put him in your lineup and you'll get some points and just be happy with it. I'm going to go Keth Walker playing the Titans. Titans' run defense actually kind of held up all right against Houston last week. That's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row. I think the Seahawks run all over them. Charbonnet probably poaches a touchdown or two, but don't worry, there'll be plenty enough touchdowns for this Seattle team. So I think Kenneth Walker is very startable this week. And lastly, it was not his game this past week, but I do think Devontae Smith bounces back nicely against the Cowboys in this one. I've just got a feeling that he kind of goes off. This is more a Devontae Smith game than an A.J. Brown game, and he gets in the end zone and puts up the big week.
Yeah, I like some of the names you said there in that list. I'm going to go Quinshon Judkins versus Las Vegas. If Shedeur is starting, I think it's going to be a big run game. They want to avoid that pass rush. I'm looking for 20-plus carries out of Judkins this week. Khalil Shakir, really low point week this past week. They're playing Houston this week. Houston's got a great pass rush. I think Shakir's going to see a lot of targets in the slot, maybe like 8, 9, 10 targets this week versus Houston. Last one I want to throw in here, pretty much any Patriots player, May, Henry, Travion, Diggs, Douglas. I think Booty's out, but any Patriots players versus Cincinnati, get them in there. They could easily put up 48 points this week on that defense. Week 12 sits. Who you got?
Yeah, so also in that game, I don't feel – I mean, with Milton Williams being out, it is a little tough, but I still believe that New England Patriots run defense is pretty nasty. I don't love Chase Brown this week. He's been getting decent work. The pass game volume is still there. I get it. His floor, I do think, is decent, but I really don't see him having a big pop-off ceiling. I think there's better options. Similar kind of thing. I don't think Genty is a great play this week. The Browns defense is nasty, and the Raiders cannot get anything going on offense. I think if you can find some other running back to get in there, I think it's probably a decent time to do so because it's just not working with Genty right now. This offensive line is a mess. And then lastly, just quite literally every Titans player, just like don't start any of them. Pollard, Spears, any wide receiver, I don't care. Okonkwo, like nobody, just don't do it. Seattle's defense is very good. The team total for the Titans in this game is like 13 points. It's terrible.
Yeah, Pollard and Spears are ending up on the sit list every week because the game script just says Titans are going to lose and we can't run it.
Yeah.
I'll throw a couple other in here. Dalton Schultz versus Buffalo. Buffalo actually does defend the tight end position very, very well. Cade Otton last week, Cade Otton should be getting a ton of fantasy points with all the offensive pieces out, and he had 4.8 points last week versus Buffalo. They defend that tight end spot well. Last one I'm putting here is Dak Prescott versus Philly. Dak went off this past week. Dak plays very similar to Jared Goff. Jared Goff put up 12 points against Philly, so I can see Dak putting up something in that 10 to 12 point range. Probably not a start this week.
Yeah, week 1 when they played, I don't even think Dak had 200 yards passing against the Eagles.
Waiver wire.
And that was with no Jalen Carter.
Yeah. Who should players be looking at on the waiver wire?
I think there's definitely going to be some options this week. With the Josh Jacobs injury, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. So Emmanuel Wilson may just be getting a decent bit of the volume there in Green Bay. I think go ahead and grab him. They're playing the Vikings this week, so not like a great matchup, but still, I think that's an offense that definitely tries to funnel the ball to the running backs. Michael Wilson had a crazy game. I don't know if Marvin Harrison will be back or not, but still, even if he is, I think he's definitely earned some more playing time or at least more of a look. I'm not expecting 18 targets every week, but still probably a guy to keep your eye on. Sean Tucker, we talked about him earlier. If he's still out there, go ahead and get him. He's definitely out there in some leagues still. Tough matchup this week against the Rams, and obviously Bucky coming back soon, but still, he has proven that he can put up some numbers. And then maybe a stash. He's on a bye week this week, I believe. But Chris Rodriguez for the Commanders kind of took over this backfield a little bit more. Bill Krosky-Merritt hasn't really done much. He kind of got pushed to the side a bit. I want to say Rodriguez had like 15 carries or something. It's not a great offense. Like without Jaden Daniels, they're not scoring much, but he's getting a decent bit of the work, and he's definitely going to be kind of your goal line back there. So
I'm going to throw a couple defenses in here. The Jaguars defense, they are the number 8 fantasy D. They're playing Arizona this week. They're on the waiver wires. Definitely want to take a look at. And another one that people aren't really looking at right now is the Ravens, number 29 fantasy D. Their defense is starting to improve, and they're playing the Jets this week. Like, would it be surprising if the Jets put up 10 points, even if the Ravens defense is not great? So definitely a one to look at this week. All right. Let's get into some gambling. I've been struggling the last 2 weeks, but you know what? I'm not making double bogeys. I'm just making bogeys. I'm holding myself in there. I made a ton of birdies to start the season. Now, I've made a couple bogeys, but we're gonna get back right on the birdie train here. I went 1-2 last week. For the year, still 20-13, doing great. Andrew went 2-1. He is above 500. He is 17-16 on the year.
finally, let's go.
Let's take you through the lines this week. On Thursday, we get Bills at Texans. Texans +6. Sunday, no morning game, 1 p.m. window. We get Jets at Ravens. Ravens -13.5. Steelers at Bears. Bears -3. Patriots at Bengals. Bengals +8.5. Giants at Lions. Lions -10.5. Vikings at Packers. Packers -6.5. Colts at Chiefs. Chiefs -3.5. Seahawks at Titans. Titans +13.5. 4 p.m. window, we get Jags at Cardinals. Cardinals +2.5. Browns at Raiders. Raiders -3. Eagles at Cowboys. Cowboys +3.5. Falcons at Saints. Saints -1.5. Late night game, we get Bucs at Rams. Rams -6.5. Monday Night Football, the Carolina Panthers on prime time at the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers are favored by 6.5. What is the must-win game of the week?
I think they were on it last week. I think they're still on it. I think Kansas City needs to win this game against Indianapolis, at least just to get things headed in the right direction. I'm very concerned about their prospects if they start adding any more losses than they already have.
I looked at their schedule. I don't think this is a must-win for them. I know I said it last week, but I still think they can drop this and make the playoffs. Mine this week is the Lions. If the Lions lose, the Giants are weird. I mean, they sneak up on some teams. You cannot lose that game to the Giants at home. That's going to scare their playoff chance if they can't take that game. All right. On bye this week, the Denver Broncos, the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Washington Commanders. What are your bets of the week?
So we're starting off. It's a big line, but I feel pretty confident because this might be. I mean, you had them like 8th in power rankings. I don't see how they're outside top 3 right now. But the Seattle Seahawks -13.5. They're at Tennessee. I don't care. This game's going to be ugly. The Titans do not match up well. Seattle's not going to allow them to run the ball. I don't think Darnold's going to throw 4 picks in this game, so I think they're going to be pretty comfortably covering this, and I would not be surprised if we're seeing backups in at the end of that game. Next up, this feels gross. This is just an NFC South feeling for me. I think Atlanta +1.5. I think at New Orleans, I think they just win this game. Look, Kirk Cousins going in. I don't think that's really any different, like to Michael Penix. They're going to be able to run the ball. I think this defense. It's just a thing. Like the Falcons are not good, but the Panthers just own them. Like people are going to overreact to what they saw against the Panthers, and that's not going to happen. It's just the Panthers do that to the Falcons. That's not actually a reflection of it. I think the Falcons are the better team here. I do think they win that game. And lastly, we're also gonna, pick on my Panthers a bit. Look, Monday Night Football. Carolina Panthers are 6-5. We are in it, baby. We're right there. I know how this goes. I've been a Panthers fan way too long. Um, we are not competitive in this game. This is not a close football game at all. I would not be surprised if this game was 24-3 at half, 28-3 at half, like really out of hand. San Francisco covers that 6.5 quite easily. I don't think that this game ends up competitive at all.
You know them better than I do. They're your team. Um, I love the Seahawks minus 13.5. If this was minus 19, I would still consider taking the Seahawks. This game, terrible matchup for the Titans. This is one of those games where you're going to blink and you're like, oh shoot, the Seahawks are up 28-0. So I got Seahawks minus 13.5. I'm going to take the Buccaneers plus 6.5 on Sunday night. They're coming off 2 losses. They do not want to drop 3 in a row. NFC matchup. The Rams are a good team, but they make some of these games closer than they should be. And the Bucs don't get blown out. So I'm taking the Bucs plus 6.5. And then last one here. I don't love it, but I think the Jaguars are better than I expected, and I think the Cardinals are suck. They're still out of Kyler Murray. 2.5. I think the Jaguars do cover that. I'll take the Jags minus 2.5. So I'm going Seahawks minus 13.5, Bucs plus 6.5, Jags minus 2.5. Andrew's going Seahawks minus 13.5, Falcons plus 1.5, and 49ers minus 6.5. Lock them in. All right, let's get to our survivor pools. $0 entry fee, $500 cash to the winner. We started with 187 participants. We entered NFL Week 11 with 10. 9 contestants will be moving on to Week 12. Only one person downed this week. 50% of the pool that is alive took the Patriots over the Jets. That was the big pick that got them into the next week. The only miss this week was Raiders over Dallas. I looked at this and I'm like, there's no way that this person could have thought that this was the right play, picking Raiders over Dallas. They must have forgot their pick because they used Dallas a couple weeks ago, and they must have gotten to Monday and been like, shit, I got to take the Raiders here because at Ray54, WRA54, I'm sorry, bud, making it that long and then getting there and whew, that's a tough one there. that was just never going to hit.
Man.
I thought it was a psycho pick at first. I was like, we got a psycho alert. And I scrolled back and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way there's no way. All right. Don't forget to get on YouTube. Like and subscribe at Screenplay_podcast. We are on socials at Screenplay_podcast. You can also check out our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you stream podcasts. Good luck to Andrew Novak this week. You can catch him at the RSM Classic. Haven't played a tournament in a while, but got a kid.
It's been a minute.
Home tournament. Got a good pairing. Got some good weather. Should be good. Any last words to the listeners?
No, y'all follow along this week. Hopefully I can put up a decent little tournament, and good luck to your teams.
All right. Appreciate all of our listeners from the 30-plus countries that we are in, and we will see y'all next week.